Hey, this is my dog Max, and I'm doing this video for Victoria and for Vancouver, and it has to do with disaster relief planning. What you see before you is a base for a teeny tiny cabin that I made, but I'm actually modifying it into a gazebo base. You can put a gazebo top on it. You can put extensions around it. This is 108 square foot. If I make them for disaster relief, I'll make them at 100 square foot. That way you're under the legal code. And but you could also use these for laneway houses too. So they have more than one application. And I've designed it so they're expandable. You could actually put another 200 square feet of deck around this, which brings the ends out here to about 10 feet. This is all sectional design. You can see the individual components that are bolted together. So there's 8 sections here that are bolted together, but I did modify it where I put a double beam in the center, so it actually come together in 2 halves. And but we know the big one is coming, and the government's not going to do too much. What are you going to do when you get thousands and thousands of people who's lost their homes? At best, the government's going to put you up for a while and maybe give you a tent, but when the big one comes, you're looking at long-term survival, being able to make it through the winter, the rain, the snow, the cold, and this is where this cabin's coming from. The base of the unit, if I was going to use it for disaster relief, like a disaster relief cabin, I would raise it up probably so you would have about maybe 4 feet inside storage, like 4 foot height, and that would give you plenty of storage. The floor here, I could put another floor down there, put some windows in it, insulate it all the way around, put an access hatch into it, and you'd be able to store your emergency provisions. And if you have wood, you can actually store your wood underneath the deck. And these are going to be needed sooner than later. So this is what I've been working on since last November. I developed this teeny tiny cabin as a hexidome design. The angles are 30 degrees offset, and there's not one square cut in this building. It's all compound cuts, so it does take a bit of work. And when I made it last year, I'll give you a view of the inside. I just made a shell, and I made it to actually protect an interlocking floor system. Here you can see the components here that lock together, and it actually incorporates this primary base here. It goes on there. That's the primary base, and these. This is your secondary geometric base, and these here actually connect into this hub. Very strong. Take an 8-point shaking, that's not a problem. I'll give you a view from this side. But we need to prepare. At least I'm attempting to prepare to help others. The dome, this one here is a little bigger than the geometric profile. It's about 13.5 feet tall. It's 16 foot diameter, 192 square foot. It took me all day just to jack this roof up in the air. And that's why I went to a sectional component. All this is sectional. 6 pieces on your pony wall, 6 pieces on your primary dome wall, and 6 pieces on your primary dome roof. I'll show you the inside. It's a lot of room, so I'm just using it for storage right now. I'll just give you a walk around view. So the door here would use a dormer entry, and same as this window. And this window, that's all your geometric cuts. I've updated this where on the outside framework here and your window framework, I want to use 2x8s and cut off your 15-degree bevel on the outside The reason for that is that would eliminate all this studding except for the header and for the sill plate. I'll run it out like that, and I might leave. I think I'll eliminate these two here and put in a hex window, like a little portal. The reason for that is that you can put a loft area up above here using the sectional component system. My name is Donald E. Taylor. I'm the inventor of the Hexidome cabin. I get a lot of inspiration and dreams, ideas from the Lord. He's my inspiration and my Savior, so I'm not ashamed. And we could be at the point, well, I know we're at the point that we're going to see major disruptions roll across North America soon. I believe the 3 quakes on the East Coast, the New Madrid and the Cascadia zone and California quakes are going to happen this year. That's the reason I'm pushing on this. And so, you know, if you had this set up, you're probably going to use tents for a while. But if you had something like this set up, you'd have a place where people could come and eat. You can make these into washroom, restroom, saunas where people can clean up, you know. And people would have room to eat on the outside. You know, if you had a full wraparound deck on this, you know, you could probably extend the deck out another 8 feet from center, so that would make it 16 feet from center or 32 foot across. You could have a table on every deck. So people will be off the ground. You're not sleeping on the ground. Because when the big one comes, we're looking at millions of people, possibly, you know, between here and the United States, not having a place to stay. And, you know, you're not going to, your rebuilding program could be between 2 to 5 years. So what do you do in between? What about the people who lose their homes and they got no insurance because the insurance companies won't give you money for earthquake disaster? So what do you do? So this is my attempt to try to do something to help people. Nice view of the inside here. And for auxiliaries, you got wood storage under here. If this cabin is raised up like the deck, you would have emergency storage underneath. On top there, I would have the venting, maybe some skylights, and there may be room. You know, if you have this deck set up, you could actually have solar panels around the deck, or you could have 2 faces or 2 facets of the wall systems where you could actually have custom-made solar panels. I'd probably do that. And there's lots of things you can do with this. And but if you're not worried about earthquake preparedness, this would make a beautiful laneway house in Vancouver. It all comes apart, easily sets up. You know, I'm still perfecting the designs in this. This is basically going to be the shape. And like I say, this is 192 square foot, 16 foot diameter. I can make them right up to 24 and 32 foot diameters. I'm just trying to make something that's going to meet the needs when the, you know what, hits the fan. And you even have room for your dog underneath. This is what the Lord gave me a year ago. It's called the Joseph Initiative, and it has to do with joint operatives specializing in emergency prepping and housing. So this could be set up in many places, many states, many provinces across North America. And I could teach you guys how to make this, but I could really use someone who's serious about this to help finance this project. And I'm 63, and I don't have all that much income coming in. I'm building these decks to, you know, try to make a living here. I can pretty well make anything. And if you want a laneway house in Vancouver or Victoria, give me a call. You know, you can wire me the money there for the material and that, and I'll make this, and I could, you know, deliver it. You know, you have to include your ferry costs and your time and your gas and all that too. Well, like I say, all this is sectional and is designed for quick setup and for long-term disaster relief. And for a laneway house, if I was going to set this up as a laneway house in Vancouver, using the 100 square foot platform, I'd probably raise it probably almost head height. And that would give you storage for your stuff in your shed, things like that, under storage, either open to the ground or insulated. That's your choice. But this would make a beautiful deck, gazebo deck, laneway house. You know, you could have, you know, you'd be 5-6 feet off the ground. You could have your deck going all the way around like an outer deck. Just really fancy it up, and be a beautiful art studio. You could easily rent these out. And I like to be able just to work out of my yard here. A lot easier than trying to have to beat the traffic and all that. Amex. Anyway, I'm going to get this up to you. And I was listening to a lady from the States. Her name is Mainland Gribben. And the Lord just appeared to her and told her, you know, showed her 14 angels. And they're the ones that's going to bring the 14 judgments. And, you know, the book of Revelations talks about 21 judgments coming. Then the Lord spoke to her that he's the one that's going to open the 7 seals. So that's your 21 judgments. And I believe with what's happening in the Middle East now, in Turkey, there's a violent spirit going around the world right now. You know, a spirit of violence that we could be just before, right before the man of sin coming on the scene. You know, right before we could be at the point now that the first seal is being opened. And that first seal has to do with the spirit of peace being taken from the earth. You know, I think that might be the second seal, but, you know, war and violence and famine. We also have the pole shift that many of you may not be aware of. That's coming. That's responsible for these earth changes. And when it does, you're going to see a lot of cities across North America go down. So what do you do? What do you do? You know that the government is not in a position to handle the masses. You know, they have their own agenda. They built their own underground bases to protect themselves. And but they, you know, what are they going to do to protect the millions and millions when Nibiru passes by and the grid goes down and the you know, these nuclear reactors, you know, go off throughout the land? What are you going to do? We have to prepare, folks. And if you don't, it's not God's fault. It's yours for not listening. But you know, I'm doing what I can. We know troubled times are coming. There's violence erupting, earthquakes erupting, volcanoes erupting. They're all increasing. We're seeing 2 suns in the sky. We're seeing 2 moons at night. All kind of weird anomalies and all that taking place. And but anyway, I'm looking for those who have finances, not to make a profit, but to, you know, they have a spirit, heart to help people. You know, let's get these projects off the ground and running. And I love my gazebo deck. And at the time when I was making the base for these Hexidome houses or cabins, you know, I realized, well, they'll make an excellent deck. So this is just a rough rendition of what it looked like, but once finished, you know, you could use it for an entertainment center. You could use it for, put a hot tub in the center. You could put a little platform up top, and you could have a fire pit. You could put a gazebo roof on this. Have an outdoor kitchen, closing the sides with a screen. Barbecue. You know, invite your friends over for a movie. Because once you put your expansion sections around here, you get a tremendous amount of room. And just with the 100 square foot profile. All right, I don't want to bear your talk your ear off, so I'm going to shut her off here. This is my little friend Max. He's been with me about 3.5 years. The Lord blessed me with him. He's a rescue. And this is Nibiru. It's coming in. The destroyer is coming. And we need to take note. We need to prepare. This is Joshua Taylor, Donald E. Taylor, from here in Cassidy, British Columbia, across from the Vancouver airport.